Yeah, I was doing it for my son's bar mitzvah. So we had to go to a bar mitzvah the year before. I said, okay, I should test it out and see. I did not make it through.
You don't like the hair? Hello, my dear.
Bear with me 1 second while I figure out how to get my.
Yeah. You know, 10 or 1 year into COVID right now. I know we're all getting Zoom is brand new to us. So.
Right.
Right. I know. I still.
AirPods. So tonight on Change the Conversation, I've got dance legend Kimberly Mitchell. She is coming on to talk about some of the real problems that we face in the dance industry that we don't talk about. The whole point of this series is to let people know what it takes beyond just looking glamorous or doing your cha-cha or your waltz so perfectly. What's it like to be a real person? Whether you're coming from a business background, you're coming from the dance background, we all have a shared experience when we're here on earth. We've got one body and we all have issues. We all have insecurities. But when you're a dancer, you have to put on the facade, the show, so that no one really knows what's going on. At some point in time, when you've been living in that facade for an extended period, that becomes your identity. And it's hard to remember that you can be more than just the dancer who you are. So it's a part of you, but not everything you are. So I wanted to have my girlfriend, Kimberly Mitchell, who is also my dance coach when I was competing professionally, come in and talk to us about her journey through dance as being a child in the dance industry up through being a champion and what her life is like now. So welcome, Kimberly, to the show. You're still a black screen, but I stalled as long as I could.
I am here, I promise. I'm actually gonna just, I'm trying to get on the computer, and I think we're just gonna go with my phone. So.
You know, that could be a start. That's fine.
Bear with me.
At least we can still hear you. That's fine.
Right.
1 second. I'm just gonna be over here filing my nails. Get them going,
them.
right? Buffing.
You know.
Paint. Yeah, that's right. I'm out of anything glittery at the moment, which is a surprise, isn't it? Yeah, it's true. It's true. Who's coming in? Okay, there she is. Kimberly Mitchell's coming again. Yay! There you are. Connecting to your audio, connecting, and boom. Now unmute yourself. Hello, darling. Yep. We will get this together, I swear. 12 months into COVID, we are going to get this unmuted for her. Unmute. Yep.
I'm alive.
She's alive, and you're coming to us from your dance studio, are you not?
I am.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thanks. I'm actually gonna go and hide in the closet.
Honey, only on my show is that okay,
right.
apparently. Let's be very real.
That's so funny. How's this?
Well, you know, as far as closets go, that is very sterile. That's a sterile closet, but your hair looks amazing in it. So do what you're doing. So you are definitely someone who understands the importance of having a signature look. You've always had something fun going on with your hair since you retired, really.
Yeah, I get bored too easily.
You mean a minute and a half of one song and one dance isn't going to make a long-term attention span for anybody?
No, and the way that we bleach and color the front means that every time I wash it, it becomes a different color. So I literally have a different hair color every day.
So that's actually one of the things you were known for when I first met you, was the fact you had this fun front. And we were talking a little bit before the show about the importance of marketing yourself and getting yourself out there. And you definitely created your own brand, your own image by doing things like this, right? But what's it like in the real world? In the dance industry, we're kind of like, we're all a little bit much. We get that. But what about the real world? What type of reactions do you typically get when you go to the grocery store?
I get, oh, wow, your hair's really cool. Or are you a hairdresser?
Those are your only two options.
Yeah. Yeah. I get a lot of stares. I'm going to admit to being 40. Oh my goodness. Once
Lord,
I,
already.
once I turned 40, the blues and the greens went, and now we have different shades of reds and pinks. So, you know, it's still fun, and my husband likes redheads, so he gets half a redhead.
That's funny. Of course, he also gets your accent, which is also wonderful for
I
branding.
think that's one of the selling points that I forget that I have an English accent until I hear myself, and then I'm always shocked at how English I am. Like, damn, you're so English. Like, yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so Kimberly, you were a US champion in 1999. You were a junior champion before then, and you were champion for a couple of years in the US Latin division of dance sport. But you were a champion at 18.
Correct.
Correct? I mean, when you're already on the top, you were a baby and you were a champion. Like, let's be very real. 18 years old, that's like, I don't even know if we finished puberty at that point anymore. That's so young. So you were 18, 19 years old, and 22 or whatever, where you started going again. When you're on top of that point and you don't really have the life experience except for dancing, like that was your entire life. You're now an adult, right? And you're a champion, and you're supposed to be on top, right? Exactly. Yeah. What was that like? Because now our champions are a little bit older, a little more life experienced, but you were such a child. What was that like for you?
I mean, I did, for me, I did a lot of putting up and shutting up, because I felt that I didn't know as much about the business, about the world that I was in. So I did a lot of what I was told. I also did a lot of, I'd wear nice pants, I'd wear blouses, and then I'd wear crazy socks or undershirts that made me feel young. And I would also wait till everybody else had gone to sleep and sneak out of the house. Let's just, you know, I mean, let's tell all my secrets right now. Why not? So,
what were you doing, Miss Thing? Going salsa dancing?
Moving to America. In England, you can drink at 18.
Oh, yes, you can.
And in America, you get big black crosses on your hand. So, it was just salsa dancing and having fun. So.
Well, it's kind of like when you show up at a Latin club and you're dancing, it's kind of like, oh, look, she's got a superpower. Look, it's Wonder Woman. She's doing 15 turns in one beat. It's wonderful. So talking about putting up and doing what you're told, when we were talking earlier, we were speaking about how women in our dance industry are often viewed, and that's the kind of, for lack of a better expression, kind of take what they're given. There's not really a lot of education for any of us, unless you're part of the franchise system, on business. And even if you are part of that system, there's no real like actual foundation. You're again being told what to do. So at what point did you start having that realization that, crap, I got to figure this out? They may not have all the answers. At what point did you start believing that you knew more and you had to do more?
I think for me, it was definitely once I'd finished dancing and once I'd retired. I mean, I've been retired quite some time now, but once I'd retired, there was more to life than waking up, going to the gym, going into the studio to practice, or flying to competitions and teaching other people. So going to studios and working with people, coming away with a check, I don't want to say how do you pay your rent, but what do you do with it? There's only so many dollar bills you can shove in an oatmeal tin in your drawer. I think for me, the biggest shock was when I went to buy a car and realized I'd lived here for so long and hadn't got any credit history. I'd got the money. I was saving it in the oatmeal tin in the drawer. So it wasn't that I couldn't buy the stuff, but I didn't have any credit history. So it was a rude awakening that there's more to life than dancing. And I think a lot of us in the dancing business I want to say forget that, but when you're in it, you're in it.
Mhm.
And you eat, sleep, breathe, dancing.
There's
and
no
then
escape.
Yeah, and you don't want the escape
Mm-mm.
because it's glamour, it's glitz, it feels good. I'm moving my body, I'm dancing, I'm having fun. And dancers are fun, and not only is it fun on the dance floor, it's fun off the dance floor because we all hang out and we all have fun. And yeah, and once you hit the real world, it becomes a little bit scary, and you realize, oh my goodness, like dancing's dancing isn't the be all and end all. So yeah,
My big
retirement was a
awakening.
slap in the face.
It's amazing because dancers have one of two things with credit. They either stereotypically they've got either bad credit or no credit.
Right.
Usually, because we throw everything we possibly have to our art because our careers are so short. Usually they're so finite that I remember I just threw everything I had financially, emotionally, spiritually, everything into dancing because it was such a short period of time. And during that time, like you said, you're constantly digesting this art form and experiencing this moment for yourself, that when you can come up and you have to take a breath or you're pushed out of the pool, you don't know what to do. There's no guidebook. No one talks about what to do outside of the dance industry.
No.
So how did you, so since you didn't have credit and you were saving, I take it, how did you buy that car?
You want to know the real answer?
Uh-oh.
I had a co-signer.
Uh-huh. When you make that face. Yes, there you go. A co-signer. Always happy to have a co-signer. That's right.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
You weren't expecting that one, were you?
I usually do. I never know what to expect when it comes to people think I'm bad. Listen, she was my dance coach. We got along for years and years. We still do. Duh, clearly. This is not going to be a PC conversation. So now one of the things I loved from my time when you and I was competing is you're always so positive with your students, whether they were students or professionals. You were always positive. You weren't necessarily easy. I remember a few of those lessons myself.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
My therapist
like
wants to talk to you after this.
That's okay. I can tell them a thing or two.
Well, thanks. Wait, who said are we on here? But I had a point with this. So at that point in time, you were, it's funny because you were still toying with the idea of maybe getting back on the dance floor. You were pro-am champion. You had a fantastic body. You were always at the gym, but we would always talk about our body image issues. Tell us about what your body image issues were and how you had to address them.
So for me, I have shoulders and hips. I'm 5'4.5". The half is very important.
Yes, it is.
And even at my thinnest, so at fighting weight, I was always curvy. And unfortunately for me, the ladies that I danced against at that time were super, super thin. So for me, it wasn't a case of joining them, if you can't beat them, join them, because I did the stupid diets. I did the chain myself to a treadmill. I did the slim fast and the cabbage diet and the starvation diet and, all of the bad things for your body. So trying to join them was not an option. For me, what I got to do was make my dancing so that they had no other reaction than to mark me first. So body issues, and I think it's something that's continued on as I've gotten older. For me, the nice thing is I actually have a husband that loves curves, and one of the biggest things for him is I've got a butt.
That's right. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You otherwise, no, I'm not gonna do that. Too white for that. I can admit it. I'll admit it.
Yeah. So I got to find ways of dancing and making my body do lines and actions that were sexy that maybe the judges at that time were not looking for. They couldn't necessarily describe why they liked it. They just liked it better than what was out there. Yeah, I do know that I have fabulous legs, so my costumes were always show my legs, show my legs, show my legs. And the rest of me, when I designed a costume, I know how to dress my body. And then when other people designed costumes for me, they couldn't understand how I could look like I'd gained 20 to 30 pounds with it just by putting a dress on. And I think that goes back to when you said how I was positive about whoever I'm teaching. I want to work with what you've got. There's no point in me complaining and being mean, because at the end of the day, we dance because we love it. We dance because it feels good. We dance because we get to interact with another person. We get to talk without talking, and curves are sexy. So yes, I may have some issues now, but I'm in the real world, and I don't. Yeah, okay. So we can all be a little bit stuck in our past. But I'm more positive now than ever before. And I like keep saying about my husband, I have somebody that loves me for my curves. I don't have to change who I am and how I look for him to love me, for then me to love myself.
It's something that's so, it's just a hard awakening when you stop dancing competitively, because your body does change, whether or not your eating habits change, or it's just like, oh, you're not doing that anymore.
Right in the office.
So for me, I was amazed at how my body started to heal. But it doesn't necessarily mean my psyche was ready to heal. So dancers, we are notorious for having all sorts of eating disorders. I myself struggled with bulimia and anorexia for several years. I just like to trade them back and forth to see which one's better, which one's worse. And we make jokes of it. Like as dancers, we make some of the most inappropriate humor. I love our humor.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And it's so wrong. Like it is so wrong.
For the diet. So it's going to be like, okay, it's cigarettes and a finger. And it's so terrible what we do to ourselves, because we think it's funny, and there's therapists out there going, oh my gosh, get her in, let's deal with her. So
but it's the only way, it's the only way you're actually going to make fun of it, and the only way we know how to talk about it. It's like, hey, I don't know why people give bulimia such a bad rep. I lost tons of weight on it. You know what I mean? They're not okay, but it's the only way we have the conversations. And I mentioned because I think it's when people mention that, that's their way of asking for help in a way. So if you do know someone who makes those jokes, you don't judge them, don't think anything of them, just ask, hey, are you okay? Just something you want to talk about? It goes a long way.
It's either a cry for help, or and there's definitely something deeper. It's like, for me, it was always, if I laughed at myself first, nobody else would laugh at me. If I put myself down first, okay, because I was the one that did it, rather than waiting for somebody else to put me down. And a lot of the times, and what I've learned moving forward since I finished dancing, the only person that can actually put me down is me. My interpretation of everybody else's words and my interpretation. And at the end of the day, I can choose not to let them bother me, because it's just their opinion of me. And a lot of the times people don't, like, you don't know me. And especially the judges on the dance floor, they kind of did know me. And obviously a lot of them know me better now, because I'm on the judging side, dancing side. So they get to know me better, and they know who I am as a person. So their interpretation of me is completely different. But yeah, I get to choose whether I let it affect me or not. And that's one of the things that, you know, I'm still working on, not to put myself down, because what I put out into the universe,
Mhm.
I let people treat me that way because I've trained them to treat me that way.
I was going to say that, yeah. We train
And
people how to treat us.
yeah, so, oh, that took a like a bing.
No, this is why I love these conversations. It's so much more fun
Is
because we
it
don't get to have them ever.
it's okay here?
I mean, it
Don't
kind of looks
say-
like you have this angelic hue coming around you. Can I get someone in post-production to put a harp in at this point? Make it so, you know, like, yeah, we all know better. Now, if we have some uplighting with the horns coming out, that would be a little more
Yeah.
apropos for the times I knew you.
Everybody that's watching this will be like, that's Kimberly.
Yeah. You're not fooling anybody, baby. You're a Scorpio. We get it.
Yeah.
Everyone in my life is a Scorpio. So we were talking as well, and I wanted to mention this as well. We're now in an age where COVID has completely changed our industry. And I know so many dancers and studios that really struggled and didn't know how they were going to make it. And so many didn't make it through COVID because we have such a bad relationship with money and finance and basic business structure that became dire for almost every professional in the industry. What was it like on your end watching that happen in your own business, to your friends? What did you see through COVID that you're going to take away from that experience?
A few things. I think the first was, this is not going to last very long. So I think the first 2 months, I just had a break. I got to hang out with my husband and daughter and just chilled. And then the longer it went on, the competition started to be no more and the studios started to close down. And with that, my work started to stop. And it was scary. It was super scary that the thing that I've done all of my life, I know I can do other things, but I don't want to. I've been a dancer all my life. My parents have a studio. I came out dancing. I started winning. I had my first partner at the age of 5 and then started winning. And then I retired and I'm now on the other side. And to see our business crash and burn as hard as it did, the one thing that I took away, and I know some of my other friends that I've spoken to that have studios that thrived, is we got to be different. We got to change what we thought was the only way to do it. Like, yes, ballroom dancing is all about 2 people coming together and that touch and the musicality and the fun. And we got to see that the online business can work. It's not the be all and end all, and interaction between 2 people is still super strong and we need that, but it does work on the other side. So for me, the biggest takeaway was, you know, being stuck in this is the way we've done it forever and we must do this. We couldn't any longer. We had to become different people. We had to put ourselves out there in a different way and market ourselves differently, because we couldn't just sit around and wait for somebody to hire us like before. Because the studios that I would go to and teach the staff and their students, they weren't even having the lessons. So I couldn't expect to be brought in as a coach when nobody else was having lessons. So, and I think the competitions have shifted. Some are in person now and some are online. And I think it works. I don't know if it's going to be something that lasts forever, the online, but I do know that it's allowed a lot of us to have business without travel. It's made things a little bit cheaper. Not in my house, because we've had to buy new computers and new lighting, all stuff to make it so fabulous. But I think you can go online and you can learn from someone that could be anywhere in the world, that you may have had to, and this goes back to we save everything and we put everything into our business. I can have a lesson from someone that lives in California, and I now don't have to spend days to get to California. I can click on Zoom, because we love some Zoom, click on the Zoom, have that lesson and click off again and get back into whatever you were doing at home, cooking dinner or on to the next one.
It's so I never thought we'd be able to do it virtually, but it has been very, very cool to see.
The thing that I realize how hands-on of a teacher I am.
You just now realize that? Because I could have told you that.
Okay, so I've always known I'm a bit. I like to shove people around and goose them and give them a kick and all of that stuff. So finding Jacob's like,
I remember. Yep.
Finding other ways to speak to people that don't involve touch. So I think education-wise for myself, that was exciting. Like learning to be a different kind of teacher, learning to be a different kind of woman. Like, how do I go back into myself and describe what I'm doing? Whereas before it could be, okay, watch my shoulder. And now they're like, what's your shoulder doing? Like getting all up in a so now I have to think about, well, what body part am I using and how am I using it? So I think those of us that moved to the online world also got, I don't know, some different experience and educated ourselves and a more mature coaches than those that just sat at home and waited.
I can see that. And it's interesting on the other side as well. Being such a physical dancer, like I used to tell people I made my living teaching women how to be women, telling them to get their boobs up and put their butts under, and we're just pulling everything and around. Like everything was so precise. It's like in the real world you can't do that. I didn't know that. That was surprising to me.
Going to the grocery store and lifting them up.
It's like, listen, you only lift the chicken breast, nothing else. No one else's breast, just the chicken breast. I get it. But it was always weird because you become like, you're so used to touching people, and like you can wear like Lululemon and a tie if you decide whatever. But that's not normal. Who knew? I do miss that. I do miss that quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. What do you miss the most?
You just get used to getting in people's faces. It doesn't getting all up in there, and in the real world, it's a bit like, whoa, just get out of my face. Like, oh, I'm not sorry.
It's all right. I'm a dancer. Don't worry. I'll get over it.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, I get that expression. This is so normal for me. It's so normal. Yeah. And by the way, if you ever take a coaching from Kimberly, she's always had those nails. So when she pokes you feel it. I'm like, got it. I have the scars. I actually had to get a tattoo on my back to cover the scars.
During COVID, we took these off, and now they're back. It's like, oh no.
Oh, they're back, you poor thing. So something else that we wanted to talk about that we mentioned before was there's so many things we do want to talk about, but the industry is changing. We are seeing that business owners are having to incorporate technology into their daily lives, that we're starting to do virtual showcases. More and more spotlights are happening. Practice parties are clearly not as common or popular. Competitions are much smaller. Face masks are getting rhinestones. All of this I'm fine with, because I love a good bling by my eye. Just saying. But one thing that's also changing is how the industry is being run. I think this now gives more of us a voice. For so long, women and minorities in the ballroom industry were very silent. It was very much so a white man's sport. We have never had a dance director that's not a white male. No matter what system you're in. No, that's a lie. We have had one, Rufus Dustin. Thank you for being everything you are. But now we're seeing some things change. So being a female business owner in your own right in ballroom, what advice would you give other business owners, women or not?
Use your voice.
Hmm.
Stand in your power and use your voice. Nobody gives you anything for just standing there and looking pretty. Get out there and be seen. I think.
Don't be scared to make it flash.
Yeah, I think it's if you believe in it, what you believe in, then definitely stand up for that. And in our business, it's the male leads and the lady follows, and a lot of time the male did what he did, and the lady either stayed at home and ran the business, or stayed at home and looked after the kids, or we were kind of grateful for the work that we'd got. Yeah, know that you're just as important, and that goes for the guys that are out there that are feeling exactly the same. I think the more that you hide, the worse it gets, and unfortunately you have problems later on in life. And going back to that, there's more to life than just dancing. Yes, it's what we do, it's what we love. So's the air that we breathe. So you get to embrace all parts of life and stand up for what you believe in, whatever that is. I don't know. I just ranted there. Was that okay? Did it like that?
Honey, I've had cocktails with you before. That was nothing. That was very well said.
Got a rabbit hole there.
No, but it's stuff that makes sense. Use your voice. Dancers are known to be silent. I remember taking a dance class in college where they were trying to get dancers to use their voices and actually experiment with sound and movement. And let me tell you, that was the most quiet class I've ever been in. They did not know what to do. They were just like, I don't want to talk. I want the music to talk for me. I'm like, I'll talk. I have no problem talking. I'll do it. Don't worry. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, not being afraid to either look wrong or silly, or all of those words, all of the negative words that you think could happen. Don't be afraid of those, because you're the only one that thinks it. And if somebody else does, who gives a beep?
Well said. I don't give a beep.
No.
It was interesting. Like, it was very empowering when I started learning after the dance industry. It's funny, I never really felt like I was stupid, but I felt like everyone else looked at me like I was, because I just count a date for a living, then you just repeat it. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there we go, next phrase. You just keep doing the next thing. So that was very challenging to come out into the real world and have people talk to me about something that wasn't, cha-cha. Very, very strange. But then I found that there was some actual, the dance industry is wonderful to keep you happy and positive. It's like the Disney World of careers. I loved it. I still love it. But there are some actual social issues that we can address as dancers. There are some things that we should be addressing as dancers that we are not addressing. Body image issues, as we touched on. Gender roles, how it's not fair to have, if you're equal partners, why does one person have to take a subservient role? Why can't lead and follow be the same sides of two different sides of the same coin and pass it back and forth?
I like fluid.
Right?
Yeah, let's be fluid with this.
Me too. I'm very about fluid.
I don't like lead and follow. I like assist and assist. I assist you to move and you assist me to move. You assist me in looking my best, and I'll assist you in looking your best. I
like that term. We should adopt that. Like, that should be the standard.
Let's do it.
The assistee and the assistor. I love that. So there has been a movement, for those of you who have not been paying attention, there has been a movement to allow gender roles to be more fluid in the dance industry, where you can have lead and follow be either male or female. You could have both male, both female, or mixed gender. You can have anything in between. And I really think that's where we are evolving to as a society, and it's just really early on. But there's been such a conflict amongst doing it. And one of the judges I've heard say, who was a gay judge actually, said, we don't know how to judge it if it's not a man and a woman. We don't know how to judge it. And I voiced this with you, which I thought was really well done. I'm going to say it again. At one point, every style was new. Smooth was new and groundbreaking. Rhythm was new and groundbreaking. This just seems to be the natural transition, right? To where we have more people able to be groundbreaking. I think it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
How are you seeing it on the other side? Because you're right there on that bleeding edge of who says what and who goes where.
I mean, coming from someone that ran a same-sex dance competition, I think I'm definitely all for it. I would agree with whoever it was that you spoke to. The dancing business is definitely this is how we've done it for so long. How do we move on from here? Try it. You might like it.
It really does. And I love how you described it, like going virtually. You had to come up with a more mature way of expressing yourself and what you're trying to teach. I think you'd have to get more refined eye. You had to see what you're capable of either way.
I don't believe that dancing should be for one specific kind of person either. I think everybody is able to dance. Yes, maybe not at a championship level, but everybody can dance. And why, as a business owner, why would I limit my business?
I agree.
I think that's the way I look at it. It's like, I want to teach the world to dance. Well, I can't go, okay, I'm going to teach the world to dance, but only the white men. I want to teach the world to dance, but only the girls that are aged between 15 and 19. Like that's not what we're doing here. The world to dance. I want to teach the whole world to dance. I don't care who you are, what you are, whether you're a purple elephant or whatever. Like, I want to teach you how to cha-cha. I want to teach you how to box step. I want to teach you how to shake your booty. And whatever that looks like, like be the best that you can be and have fun doing it. And putting it into a competition format, just the boxes that you tick, add a few more boxes. I like frame, I like posture, I like this, I like that, I like the other. Add a few more boxes on the bottom. Expand your horizons.
Why not? It's how the dance, it's how we're going to stay relevant. It matters.
But it's the world we live in. So why are we not running and joining the world? Why are we holding back and saying it has to be this way? There's my little box and I got to stay. Color outside that box. You know where the box is. Color outside of it.
Dance used to be the trendsetter. We would make the fads, right? Waltz was a fad. I mean, Queen Elizabeth loved it. Like, it was wonderful. And then, swing. Everybody knows swing back in the day. Jitterbug, that just set a fad. It became a national movement. And hustle, same thing. But we don't have that at the moment. It turned into hip hop, and which I love, and I love its influence as having in the ballroom world. But it's just interesting. We have stopped progressing to being that forward-thinking art form that we used to be. I would like to have more of that again. Where do you see dance going?
I think for the longest time it progressed and went more athletic. For me, I always kind of go towards the ice skating. Once upon a time, you could do one jump and one rotation, and now it's like, if you can do 5 rotations, you can compete at the Olympics. I think that the ballroom dancing, competitive ballroom dancing did the same thing. It was like you had to be able to do the splits and the spins and the kicks and the jumps, and everything had to be fast. And I think we've hit that plateau, so now we're going back to the more artistic. And what is art? I can look at a piece of art and love it, and the person stood next to me can look at the same piece of art and loathe it. But we all have our opinions, and that's what makes competition dancing so awesome. It's never just one judge, it's many. But I think social dancing will always be and always gets to be fun. So anybody wanting to learn ballroom dancing that doesn't want to do the showcases, that doesn't want to do the competition, go have some fun. dance with your loved one, dance with the person that you loved for that night, dance with your mother, dance with your brother, dance with whoever, but have fun with it.
I couldn't agree more.
That's why we're here.
It's funny, I remember when I was a new teacher and I just moved to Chicago. I've been dancing for about 5 years or 6 years at that point. And I moved there because there was a much more vibrant dance scene, like club dance scene. And I went to my first salsa club and I was like, this is so cool. It's so different. And I was like, wait, you guys don't drink here? It's just water. Everyone's drinking. And there's a cover because no one else is doing anything at the bar. Great music. Often it was live and you just got to dance all night. You would dance until 2, 3 in the morning, go home, get up and be back to work the next morning, and you just kept going over and over and over again. It's invigorating.
Yeah.
It really keeps you moving. I was in great shape. My God, my ass looked amazing. To be very fair, it still does. And I can prove it. I'm very happy with it. Thank you. Yeah. Left side's slightly smaller than it used to be, but we don't talk about that. We sit on the right. It's just, it's cushioned that way. So now that we're going to more artistic side, hopefully we're going to get something moving as far as gender roles and keep that in the foreground, because I don't think more people aren't talking about that. It's also, I think they're confusing it with sexuality. It does not have to be. I mean, there was a student whom I'm not going to call out, but she wanted to have a female teacher because she had been victimized by a group of men and she didn't feel safe. And she wanted to compete, but she couldn't. There was always these special exceptions that had been made for her. And it was nothing to do with sex. And that's what pisses me off. People bastardize someone's artistic liberty because they think it's one thing that they don't want to understand. I think that's a shame. That's got to be addressed. Anyway, hear that, NDCA, take that in your rule book and add a couple more boxes.
Add a couple more.
Myself there. Add a couple more boxes, expand yourself. So what would you tell dancers who are now in the industry, who are getting by with COVID or trying to get things back going? What's some advice you would give them as far as how to become more sustaining?
Don't live paycheck to paycheck.
How the hell do you do that when you're a dancer though?
Oh dear. I guess, have friends like you that know what to do with the money and where to put it. Yeah, I think we get so caught up in the living paycheck to paycheck and putting everything aside. There's got to be life after dancing, and what happens if, and you and I spoke about this, we have the injury and things in life do go wrong. Yeah. It's like, put a little bit of aside, and
it's no matter if it goes wrong, it's when it goes wrong. Because at some point, grandma's got to have to go into a nursing home. And you got to figure out how to take care of that, or someone gets a car accident, or it's just you got to. Stop. And you can enjoy your life dancing, but you can't ignore that life is happening while you're dancing. Right,
and even if it's not like the negative side of things, let's take away. Okay, well, what if a car accident or an injury? I like nice things. And I like to go nice places, and I like to eat nice food, and it all costs money. So have a plan. There's a plan for dancing. It's like, expand your plate a little bit rather than having a side plate with only just my dancing on it. Have a big platter. That I always think of it as going to Vegas and going to the buffets, instead of having the little plate and having to get up and walk, although that just burn calories. I can have a little bit of everything on my platter rather than, well, this time I'm just going to eat the shrimp and then I'll go back, and then next time I can only put on the salad, and then the next time I can only put on the beef. Like, I want a big plate, and I want to put everything on my plate, and then spend an hour eating it. So
I'm starving now. Thank you so much for that. All I'm thinking right now is, oh, where's the salad? Oh my God, who am I kidding? I want the shrimp in that example.
Yeah.
I love shrimp. I miss that stuff. Although I have to say, since I've actually, last year I went plant-based primarily. So it's not vegan, but I eat mostly a plant-based diet. Let me tell you, that has changed everything. It's been lovely. I feel so
Right.
skinny.
Mhm.
I'm not, but I feel that way.
Hey, all about
No one
how
else
you
to tell you otherwise.
feel, who
It's
you
all about
feel.
how you feel. It really is. It's all about, I want to live my life happy. And if I want
Yeah.
that ice cream, I'm going to have it. I always want the ice cream. Let's be very clear. I always want the ice cream.
Me too.
That's the sad thing, because you
Me
can't do it.
too.
Anyway, so yes, if there are any dancers that are listening who would like help, and I love what you said, dancing is a system. We can actually make a system for how you can get yourself in a better shape. Guys, if you're a dancer and you need help, you can start by just learning about not only personal credit, but business credit, which is actually easier to build. And you're a little more protected that way. So we can start talking about how to build your business credit. We can start talking about how to leverage your expenses for your business so they don't come out of your pocket. So your dresses and your costumes aren't something you have to save for, and not something you have to necessarily go get sponsored for in order to utilize. There are ways to go about doing this in a better manner that set you up for that long-term success. So we just have to keep having these conversations and inspiring people to
Yep.
live the dance floor.
Right.
Well, do you have anything? Do you have any parting words for us, my darling?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. I think this has been fabulous, and thank you so much for having me.
So glad to have you on.
This has been awesome.
We always have a good time together, that's for
Yep.
sure. So I will go ahead and give you a recording of this. If anybody would like to find more, we're going to be doing this series on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern for a few more weeks. And then we are going to be, you can find it on YouTube. This is on the Sherlock Holmes Foundation. This is for dancing to end homelessness. So we are trying to end youth homelessness around the United States and for vulnerable populations so we can have a better America. Kimberly Mitchell, thank you so much for being here and having us change the conversation. You're amazing as ever, my darling.
Thank you, darling. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.